I just went to search in my history. So I searched blowjob, and thank you to the Tether Radio podcast, I have 2 results. One from your damn auto blow machine last week, and the other from this article.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined, as always now, by Miss Allie Valentine. What it be? So, how was your week, Allie?
Man, it was good. I got a new gig, so I have a new job.
Oh, hell
Start that tomorrow.
yeah.
That's exciting.
Putting those big girl pants back
You know.
on. It's more than I can say. My main job is keeping the little tyke from screaming. So, but we kind of have a mildly... Whoop, dropped my phone.
Uh-oh.
A mildly special episode this time because... we are currently recording episode 69.
Nice.
I was hoping you'd hit me with that. Not rehearsed, but here's a little video, or I guess sound clip to get you guys in the mood.
Guys are really us. What number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
So we pulled that one from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a phenomenal movie. If you have not seen it, definitely either get drunk or high before you watch it, because otherwise you're just going to be face palming the whole time. But Allie brings up a good point by responding to the old 69 with nice. We wanted to kind of just go into a little bit of a history of the whole response of, nice to 69, which I don't think that I realized, like, where, or at least who is given credit for actually coining that, like, little exchange.
Dude, imagine being that guy.
Dude.
I'm the guy that made 69 nice.
Can
we make MAGA hats that say make 69 nice again?
Dude, well, so it's actually funny that you would say that because Trump is actually like he was not given credit for that,
no.
but he tweeted something. Of course, he tweeted something, but yeah, he put, this was back in February of this year, 2019. The Gallup poll just announced that 69% of our great citizens expect their finances to improve next year. A 16-year high. Nice.
Trump tweeted that?
Yeah. But
he didn't mean it. He didn't know.
No, dude, that goes into the category of or the subreddit r/whoosh, because he was not meaning to do that. I guarantee that.
No.
But so they actually talked about how the origin was. It kind of came back to a couple songs that started kind of coining just 69 in general. And it was a song by Rick James, and it was called, it was called 69, 69 times, because she blew his mind 69 times or something. It is a super funky tune, and I would definitely check it out because it's actually a kind of a fun little, like, the fucking music video is outrageous.
Oh sure,
like,
yeah. Well,
it
it's Rick James.
yeah. But the other artist that I kind of wanted to mention was Bryan Adams, Summer of '69, which maybe I just didn't listen to that song very closely, but like. Apparently he wasn't talking about literally 1969.
Oh no, I totally always thought it was about the year.
Anyway, I mean, hell, he says five and dime in the motherfucking song. It's like, I'm pretty sure all of those were gone by like mid to late 70s.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so he actually, I'll read like, I was trying to, let's see. So they had a little, there was an interview by Uprocks with Adams, and he said, I think the song Summer of '69 is timeless because it's about making love in the summertime. There's a slight misconception it's about a year. It's not. '69 has nothing to do about a year. It has to do with the sexual position. At the end of the song, the lyric says that it's me and my baby in a '69.
Oh!
You'd have to be pretty thick in the ears if you couldn't get that lyric, and I'm like, I would fall under that category.
Okay, maybe we just never listened to it.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the time when that song was on, I was already like fucking pie face. So.
Dude, I've got to derail it for a second.
Sure.
So the '69 thing cracks me up because there is this podcast called My Dad Wrote a Porno, and it's a masterpiece. This guy's, he finds out that his dad has been writing erotic literature and self-publishing on Amazon, and he makes a podcast with two of his friends, and he just reads the book.
Dude, you told me
Dude, it's
about
so
this,
fun.
and I have to fucking check
It's
this
so
shit out.
fun.
Yeah.
Like, I got my aunt listening to it, and I was like, don't judge me. It's very erotic.
Yeah.
Like, but it's hilarious. And his friends are just like, are you
Is his dad
sure?
still alive?
Yeah, his dad's alive, so sometimes they like interview him for it.
Oh my
so
God. How do you make eye contact with your
Right?
parent after reading shit?
So I have only listened to the first season because I didn't want to get caught up because it's such a treat. I don't ever want to be finished with it.
Yeah.
But they're in like their fifth, like they're still going because he's still writing.
And so obviously you said he self-publishes.
Yeah,
so.
but like he's making money off of it. Like a lot of the people, like instead of just being like support our Patreon, they're like go buy Dad's book. It's $1 on Amazon, so
Yeah.
people do.
That's hilarious.
Well, so
dude.
the first book to get back to '69.
Yeah.
The first book was 69 pages, and they were like, "Oh, that's not an accident. That can't be an accident." so Jamie, the son, asks his dad about 69 and like, did he make it that many pages on purpose? Surely he did.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, oh yeah, because that's the sex number. And his mom's like, wait, what does 69 mean? And he's like, oh god, I don't want to hear this explanation. And I swear to God, his dad's like, oh, it's the sex number. It's because it looks like a naked female body. No, Dad, it doesn't. Like, that's not...
Wait, how does that? I want to hear like the detailed explanation of how that looks like a name.
I have no idea. But his dad was like so sure about it. Like he was just like very like, oh yes, let me enlighten you. It's because it looks like a female body.
That is hilarious, dude.
It's so great. Like one of my favorite lines from the whole thing is one of his friends is like, your dad has absolutely not ever had sex even once. You have to be adopted.
That's amazing. So the biggest like I was talking about Trump or whatever tweeting that out. Before that, Barack Obama actually tweeted out in regards to when he was he had nominated the Supreme Court. Well, I guess they weren't a Supreme Court. The nominee for the Supreme Court, Merrick Garland. In 2016, he sent a tweet out that said, "Senate leaders should listen to the American people. # do your job," with the image that has a huge 69% in yellow text, and then beside that it says, "A majority of Americans want the Senate to hold hearings and vote on Judge Garland." This tweet received hundreds of like retweets and stuff with just the response of nice.
I love it.
But yeah, it's really funny because like, I mean, it is completely ubiquitous at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Like anytime that number is referenced, you're going to have at least tens of people, if not hundreds of people.
Yeah.
I know every time I've seen it on Reddit, it's been like whatever rampant.
Or every time I'm in a bar and someone's calling bingo numbers, every time they call 069, you have to like cheer or hoot or something. You have to.
Oh yeah. But anyway, so it's just it was kind of fun just jumping down the rabbit hole of the origin of 69 and nice. And of course, from now on, they also gave credit actually to the South Park episode that Miss Teacher bangs a boy. because basically the cops were like interviewing the kid that was supposedly sleeping with the with the teacher, and they're like, "Oh, so you were banging her or whatever." Nice.
God.
So there's a little glimpse into the origin of the 69 and nice.
Man, this is a deep dive of an article, huh?
The Daily
The
Dot
Daily
one.
Dot, yeah.
I mean, we could have probably done a full episode on
Yeah.
the origin of this, but we figured it would be a little bit better to just brush upon and maybe move on. But in the same vein of 69 being the sex number, let's talk about this guy, this absolute fucking lunatic, and I think of course he's in California. No offense to our California listeners, but man, Californians, you guys got it going on. So I pulled this one from the New York Post, so if you do go check it out, be sure to put a rubber on your computer before. Otherwise, you're going to get a digital VD. So, but this guy, the name of the article was "Man Named Sexy Vegan Accused of Sexually Assaulting His Dog." Ugh. So this dude, first of all, there's a little bit to unpack here. This guy was born Hansel Marion DiBertolo the third.
The third, of course, of course.
There were two before, and he legally changed his name to Sexy Vegan.
Man, your boy is a looker too. Like he has shaved off his eyebrows and had them tattooed on, but not in an eyebrow color, in like that
like teal.
homemade ink that turns green.
Yeah. And he also had tattooed on his face "Sexy Vegan," the name.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta
far.
you gotta represent your own name change.
your own name. Yeah. So the 37-year-old who
he's 37.
Right.
Oh, I would. He looks maybe 57.
Dude, yeah, believe me, he's
not had a good life.
in the South, we call people like this "rode hard and put up wet."
I was so gonna say that. I love that saying.
But yeah, so he was busted in West Hollywood over a video he posted on social media showing, quote, inappropriate behavior with a pit bull.
So not only did you fool around with your dog, but you shared it on the internet.
I mean, this guy,
he's made a lot of good decisions with his life, really. I mean, just, he's consistent, at least.
Don't make me take this argument. Don't make me take this argument. So basically, I mean, this guy just put it fucking out there for everybody, and deserves everything he's gonna get. But the best part is it doesn't stop there. So, He like I said, he had his new name tattooed on his face, and he was charged with one misdemeanor count of each of sexual assault on an animal and posting obscene matter. The best part is moving on from that. Well, first of all, if he gets convicted, he's gonna face up to a year in the county jail, whatever. So, But so he also, let's see, he went on Dr. Phil, got kicked off of Dr. Phil for using too many expletives. Okay. And then so I guess they had his brother on there. And his brother was quoted as saying, "My brother changed his name to Sexy Vegan, wears Speedos in public, and is spending my mom's $11 million inheritance." So that kind of explains a little bit as to, obviously this guy is unemployable, so he's backed by his mother's inheritance.
Dude, I've known some people who have got mega inheritances and have just turned weird.
Yeah.
Not this weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But weird.
Yeah. But so he This was the best. This is, in my opinion, the best part was literally the last line in this article. Vegan later insisted he was running for president, although paperwork has never been filed.
Imagine the merch. Sexy Vegan 2020.
Jesus, dude. Oh my god. But it's just...
Do you think he is vegan? Or is he just using that name?
You know, honestly, I would... Maybe to, like,
He doesn't
exemplify...
eat animals, but he fucks them.
Yeah, that's what I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe to exemplify the veganness of him, he's like, not only do I not want to consume animals, I just want to consume them sexually.
Oh, it's bad.
But like, dude, this guy is just like, and he's got really, really, really dark eyes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like creepy.
Very creepy.
Yeah, but anyway.
Feels like a very Florida man story.
Right?
I'm surprised it's
It
California.
really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So from here, let's talk about some billboards.
Oh, man.
Is that cool?
I love it. Okay, so also, I accidentally closed this tab the other day when I was trying to like make some notes. And I went to I just went to search in my history. So I searched blowjob, and thank you to the Tether Radio podcast. I have 2 results. One from your damn auto blow machine last week, and the other from this article.
Yes.
So this article is from Vice, and it is titled "Threesome Blowjob Scene on Giant Highway Billboard Could Have Caused an Accident," police say.
Let me stop you right there. Welcome to the shit show that is the Tether Radio podcast.
Or just America. I mean, So, this one's just fun. Like, yeah, sure, yeah, it could have distracted drivers and maybe caused an accident, and that's bad. But mostly it's just goofy.
Yeah.
Just before midnight on Saturday, emergency lines in Auburn Hills, Michigan started ringing. Drivers were calling from the interstate to report that an electronic billboard was suddenly playing porn. Apparently it played for around 15 or 20 minutes just before midnight. And a lot of the people that they, like, got, you know, little pull quotes from in the article were pretty much saying, it's whatever, like, it's late at night, kids probably didn't see it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, God, I'd just like to hear some of those calls, because you know these people are not being proper. They're just, like, weird, random old people, and they're like, I seen a billboard, and there was a dick.
There's a big old dick. There's a hog leg on there.
No.
Just getting a little love.
And what a bunch of narcs. Like, just let it play, you guys. It's midnight, man. Just call your friends and be like, hey, there's porn out there.
Yeah. So wait, where did this?
It was near Detroit.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Apparently this billboard often just shows a Windows desktop, which I feel is just kind of a sign to potential hackers. Like, we don't know what we're doing with this billboard, and we probably don't know about security, so have at it.
That is absolutely incredible.
Another article said that it was apparently 2 guys who scaled a fence and broke into the little shack at the base of it to hack it. But I don't think they've been caught, and I bet at this point they won't.
I mean, dude, these are not the the heroes we deserve. They're the heroes we like require, man. But yeah, that is just amazing.
It's a good time.
Yeah, a fucking incredible.
And on wish I could hear some of those emergency calls.
Oh yeah.
Also, you're calling the emergency line. Like, at least call the non-emergency.
Yeah. Get down here quick. There's porn on the fucking interstate, dude. Jesus. Oh my god. But so moving from here, let's talk about security.
Oh,
right?
Let's do.
So I pulled this one from the Next Web. The case against traditional passwords and how biometrics can better secure us. So I thought this was really cool because it kind of brings up an issue that I don't know if... Obviously other people are thinking about this,
sure.
But I don't know if it's that widespread of a thought.
Right.
So everybody knows that passwords are fucking annoying. Like, you know, I mean, it's like, I don't know if you have to deal with this often.
Dude, I have so many passwords because I'm on every damn site.
Yeah.
And
everybody requires a password. And then you have, you know, they have different requirements, whether it's special characters, numbers, you know, capitalization, all that shit. In addition to the fact that we have an aging parent population, that I have to remember all of my parents' passwords. But
I've started using one of my mom's passwords as passwords on a couple sites that I don't care.
Yeah.
So that I'll remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't even remember what her password is too.
Yeah.
So why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so it's just it's really funny because passwords, really the advent of like an important password, it kind of started with like the banking industry, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And in this, they go back even further than that, and they talk about the Roman military would use what Polybius described as a matchword to disguise ally from enemy. So, and it was also used during wars, or in like the Battle of Normandy. U.S. paratroopers used constantly changing call and response passwords. For instance, Flash would be responded to with thunder to figure out whether it was a friend or foe.
Yeah.
But it really entered, I guess being everywhere with computers and stuff. And once you had computers, and it was kind of cool because the advent of it was, or they basically say that computer science in 1960, thanks Fernando Corbato, as a means of, he used a password as a means to keep his files separate, but they were being stored on the same like hard drive kind of thing. So it's like basically allowing lots of users to use the same hard drive, because the hard drives back in the 60s were
huge.
It took up like a house size for like 10 megabytes. But yeah, so in order to access your files, you had to, know the password to access it.
Right.
Now, in this day and age, we're inundated with passwords. And so what people have started leaning toward, and really Apple was the first that was really, I guess that I really saw prevalence in the whole biometrics.
Yeah, as far as I can think, yeah.
It was basically using a fingernail, Jesus, a fingerprint.
Yeah.
So, and that was actually, I didn't even realize this, but like 6 years ago was actually when they first started implementing it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so really, really cool stuff. And it's like, obviously, you don't have to remember what your fingerprint looks like. You just throw it on there. It unlocks your phone or whatever. And at this point, we've progressed to where you can use like Apple Pay, and like Windows, I think it's called Windows Hello, is actually starting to use facial recognition like stuff, which Apple also was kind of a front runner for that. With unlocking phones.
Yeah.
But they with this new technology, obviously you have all sorts of problems that come up with it. For instance, like the lighting, if somebody has a beard, if they have a hat on, if they wear glasses, it's, all of these
if your
are
fingerprint is wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, or just randomly mine just won't unlock with my fingerprint. Like, not a ton, but maybe one out of, I don't know, every 200 times. Yeah. And then I have to type in my password, and I'm like, ugh.
I mean, dude, when I'm munching down on a fat sack of Cheetos, dude, and I got Cheeto grease on my fingers, I gotta lick just so I can unlock my phone. But anyway, so yeah. Anyway, moving on from that, the biometric stuff really is going to be the future of passwords. But something to bring up in regards to that is with someone wanting to secure files, you're also going to want, or you're also going to have people that are trying to gain access to that shouldn't have access to it.
Yeah.
So the problem is okay, currently, your Twitter account gets hacked or whatever, boom, change your password.
Right.
Okay, well, let's say that your iPhone somehow gets hacked.
Yeah.
How do you go about changing a fingerprint?
Yeah, you're kind of hosed. Like...
Yeah. And so what they're looking into, they being the developers of this it's called actually behavioral biometrics.
Okay.
And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to create, and I forgot exactly how it was worded, but they want it to be effortless, basically,
right.
so that it's like, okay, you just they're looking at how you how you sound naturally, and
okay.
instead of actually having to be like, whatever, put your thumbprint on there. It's like you pick up the device, it scans you,
yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, this is Allie, or this is Daniel, or
right.
whatever.
Right.
And the interesting thing about this, though, is that it's way, way like deeper than I was able to get into.
Yeah.
Because behavioral biometrics is just like, I don't know. I say the word and it makes me sweat, kind of thing. Because it's like, well, what in the hell are we going for with this?
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
And so just to quote, let's see, who was this person? Because in this article that I pulled, they were kind of talking about how behavioral biometrics would be kind of like a customized authentication. They were talking, let's see, this Abdulaziz. I don't know. I was trying to...
That sounds right. I mean, yeah, I think.
Right. I was trying to figure out who... I forgot to write it down. I was trying to figure out where... Okay, here we go. PhD in engineering with a focus on security, and currently working as a faculty member at Al-Qura University. And so this person is... this guy is working on basically behavioral biometrics,
yeah,
and designing it in a manner that is just super approachable, and I'm obviously as close to unhackable as possible. But he was quoted as saying, most of these studies use different approaches like touchscreen keystroke, gait, behavioral profiling, etc., and show each subject has a unique identity. Behavioral biometrics does not need more sensors, so the cost of building any device will not increase. The main points that we need to consider are time to train, size of data, and where should be trained. Addressing these points will lead behavioral biometrics to one of the important biometrics, in my opinion, not only in smartphones, but to most smart devices. So they basically think that if this gets deployed, then it's going to solve problems with that other forms of cybersecurity have faced throughout their existence. So it's just they're going to be looking at the basis, or the most basic of like human behaviors,
okay,
and assigning specifically that to being able to unlock a device, kind of thing.
I just feel like so many of those could be fallible. Like,
yeah,
when I get a cold, my voice goes completely away to where I can't talk above a whisper.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, so if I'm using my voice to unlock my phone and I'm like, this is Allie, it's gonna be like, yeah. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Nice try, hacker. That's
or if they're going by, like you mentioned, your gait, which like I set my phone down and have to walk toward it, and it recognizes, but like,
right?
What if I like broke a toe and I have a limp?
Yeah.
I feel like all these have their drawbacks.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that we are 100% in the beginning phases of this, because there's a little video within this that shows how easy, and I don't know if this was an earlier version of Windows Hello or what, but the guy in the video literally prints off like a grayscale photo of himself,
mm-hmm.
and then basically just holds it up, and you can unlock the computer.
Yeah.
And so it's, but it was also really weird, just as a side note about this video, he does it twice just to show that it works.
Right.
Then he puts a piece of like opaque tape over the sensor, and it like spazzes. He holds the thing up again, and it like spazzes a little bit and like denies, and then grants access.
What?
It's like kind of bizarre. But yeah, so it's one of these things that which it was. I forgot to mention the picture was almost like a.
I think it's in. I think it's in the thumbnail of this video. Is that
Yeah.
the picture?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like.
It's like a night.
It's almost night vision. Almost
Yeah.
looks like one of those 3D ultrasounds.
Yeah.
Or 4D ultrasounds or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's not like a very clear picture that like, you know, if you just glance at it, you'd thought that was the actual person. Like it's pretty pixely. And, yeah.
And honestly, it looks like the people that from Blair Witch when they were like filming themselves in black and white kind of thing.
Or like this man is wanted. We got his picture withdrawing cash out of an ATM.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But I don't know.
One little phrase I liked out of this, they were talking about how like your normal passwords, like having a pin or one of those where you draw a pattern on the screen, are easy to like get a hold of through shoulder surfing attacks. And I was like,
I saw that.
You just mean creeping?
Yes,
You just mean literally eyeballing it, huh?
shoulder surfing. Yeah, I'd never seen that.
No,
term
I love
before,
that.
but it's pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, so it's just gonna be. I mean, I absolutely love like cybersecurity and like the tech and stuff because I mean, you know, as we go through our lives, tech is going to be implemented more and more and more. Yeah. And, you know, there's no way to get around it. So the best thing that we can do is try to secure it the best we can, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that'll be kind of interesting is to see how I really want to dive a little bit more into this behavioral biometric stuff to actually see an example of that. Yeah. You know, because I agree with you. I mean, it seems like completely, you know, fallible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
cool.
So, kind of interesting. We'll see how biometrics changes over the next years because I mean, shit, tech's not going away, man. So we got to get something going on for security. But yeah. So where we want to head from here?
I don't know. Let's talk about your Instagram threads thing.
Yeah, let's do it. Just old Zuckerberg trying to toss out another item for everyone to download. This was actually I kind of upon first glance I was like, ooh, this is kind of creepy.
Same, yeah.
But reading into it, it's not as creepy, I guess.
It sounds like you have to opt into everything. So yeah.
And they've specifically, well, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So I pulled this one from TechCrunch. Instagram launches Threads, a close friends chat app with auto status. So I am not a big fan of any of my apps, especially when I'm not using them using location service stuff.
Right.
You know, I that's kind of creepy. I feel like that's data that is overstepping into a privacy violation kind of thing.
And also, like, I just don't need it. Like, some of my apps would, like, automatically set themselves to that, and it would tell me, like, when a Target is nearby. And I was like literally, like, the retailer Target. And I'm like,
I realized, what are you, fucking Hitman?
I know how that sounded. Like, as soon as I said it, I was like, no, I'm too wimpy for that. But yeah, like it would be like, it would pop up and be like, there's a Target. I'm like, dude, I know where Target is. Yeah. Like, I don't need to be told.
Yeah. Which, and you know, some of the stuff like the geofencing, which is what they're implementing that I know, I'm pretty sure like Chick-fil-A, a lot of fast food restaurants have started implementing it, that it's like mobile order, you get within a certain distance and it's like pings them to start making your order kind of thing, which is cool. But at the same time, you know, I don't know if I'm ever in that much of a fucking hurry.
Dude, and I don't know if Chick-fil-A's app does that. As far as I know, you still have to manually hit a button saying, I am here.
So I know
but maybe it won't let you hit it until you're within their geofence. Or maybe others do it. Or maybe I just don't have it turned on mine. I don't know.
And you might be actually right, because I know that I haven't used that app a whole lot, but every time that I have, it's like, hey, you let us know when you're here,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
but that tech is out there and could be used that way.
sure. So, yeah, Instagram basically launched a standalone app that it can be used with Instagram, and basically, if you give it access to use the data from Instagram. But other than that, you still have to have an Instagram account, but it's not necessary to actually use the data from Instagram for it to function.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, one of the big selling points from this was this auto status thing, which I don't know. It's just it was kind of interesting because I was like, well, they talk about how the auto status thing, you can set like manually set an emoji as an away message to show close friends what you're up to, or opt into letting Instagram select one automatically based on your location, accelerometer, and even your phone's battery level. So immediately I was like, why the fuck would somebody need to know my phone's battery level?
Yeah, hey, I am at the bar,
Yeah.
but I'm only at 18%, so I won't be here long. Like, what?
Well, no, but it was kind of funny because they started walking through like why,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, well, if somebody's battery level's low, then they might not respond to you.
Okay.
Or if their battery's charging, then they might, it'll kick out a message and say, whatever, my phone's charging, I might not get back to you in a while, because you might not be standing beside your phone because it's charging.
Right.
So, but all of this shit is like, I mean, if you can see Allie's
It's
face,
very Big Brother.
it's 100. Yeah, it's like, Jesus, dude.
I'm just looking at you like I should take off my earplugs and earphones and just leave the room. Like,
Yeah.
this is freaking
It's
me
like,
out.
what else is fucking tracking me
Yeah.
like this?
Dude,
But-
everything's tracking us.
Oh,
You know that.
I know. But yeah, and so this is kind of off-putting to me. This literally this one sentence. Threads offers, quote, persistent connection. Instagram's director of consumer product management, Robbie Stein, tells me, and it's one of these things that I love the availability of like all of these connections these days. But damn, dude, we're getting to the point to where it's like, I mean, like, employers expect you to be responding to emails within like 5 minutes or something because everybody has their email on their phone these days.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, I kind of missed the fucking, like, the olden days of, like, whatever. When I lived out in Granger with my family or whatever, my parents didn't want, they basically bought Joseph and I a separate phone line.
Yeah.
And, dude, we thought we were, like, fucking the coolest.
Oh, yeah.
Here's our personal line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
But-
instead of doing that, my parents got me a Cricket phone.
Yeah.
Because, like, I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't need long distance.
Yeah.
So, oh, man, I thought I was the coolest fucking 15-year-old because I had a phone.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean, like, I remember, whatever, we set up like an answering machine
Yeah.
and stuff, and like, you'd come home from something and like, whatever, your buddy called you and you had to call him back,
Yeah.
and are they there? Oh,
Yeah.
they're not there at the
Yeah.
store. Cool. Can you get them to call me back? And it's just funny to have gone from that to where we are now, that it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll just shoot a text message to you real quick.
And I feel like before cell phones, you were more, is devoted the word I'm looking for? Where
Mm-hmm.
you were like, if you told someone you would meet them at X place
Oh,
at
yeah.
6 o'clock, you just would.
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise you couldn't text them and be like, I'm going to be 30 minutes late. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to give up before 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And you couldn't just reschedule, and you couldn't,
And that's actually
yeah.
a really good point,
Yeah,
because
like, I think it made us a lot flakier.
Yeah.
Having these ways where we could be like, hey, I'm on my way, but I gotta stop for gas. Or whatever. Like,
Just
before,
less of
you
a
just had to be on time.
yeah, like less of a consideration for somebody else's time,
Yeah.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, I can just call you and tell you I'm gonna be late.
Yeah.
So fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be late instead of actually hurrying your ass up and
Right,
getting there
right,
on time.
yeah.
But yeah, so basically they wanted to create this this whatever standalone app or stand beside app kind of thing for close people, so that this is not, it's not auto statusing, whatever, telling if whatever, some acquaintance that happened to find you on fucking Instagram that your phone's battery level's 18% or whatever. So this is like no shit, like close friends, family, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just it was kind of interesting to me how basically they just they basically are doubling down on connectivity kind of thing, and like trying to make it so that you feel safe having this high level of connectivity with this specific group of people that you choose kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, I feel like some which, and they even mention it, some of these apps have already kind of tried functions like this, like
right.
with the
like Foursquare and Swarm.
Well, honestly, I was talking more about Facebook, how they had the lists that you could put friends into.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, well, this is only going to be seen by these people.
I worked with a girl who was so into using that.
Really?
And I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
And she would be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to post this, but, like, it's on my, like, drinking friends list. And she's not, like, a going out drinking person.
Yeah.
These are not, like, drinking buddies. These are just people who drink.
Yeah.
So, like, she had, like, a separate where, like, if she just posted a picture and she happened to have a mimosa at brunch, it would not show to anyone on her list that wasn't pro-drinking. What? Or, like, any of her, like, younger cousins or something. Which, like, I don't feel like if you have a picture of you with a mimosa, it's going to encourage your 15-year-old cousin to drink, but... I mean, to each your own, I guess. She was, like, obsessive with it. It was weird.
But that's just, you know, but I actually dated a girl before Megan that was, like, super into censoring what was on Facebook. But it was just because her mom was a fucking lunatic. And she would, like, Facebook stalk kind of thing. And she'd, like, log in as her brother's accounts and shit to look at stuff. And it was just like, of course, you know, me being the dumbass that I was back then, maybe still am, but...
maybe poked the bear a little bit, huh?
Yeah. But it was just one of these things that, I mean, shit, dude, we partied pretty hard in undergrad. And, you know, that was when Facebook was super popular. And, you know, you want to have all your fucking party photos up there and all that shit. Now I wish that I could take all of that back. But, yeah, anyway... but it was one of those things that, like, only her, you know, whatever, only her close friends, but then she'd have, like, family in some other list that it was, like, you know, pictures of me and her going to church or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Know?
It's very, like, you know, just performative, like, letting certain people see certain parts of your life.
Yeah.
Performative is not, like,
almost like a curated, like, existence.
What am I thinking when you put things in, like, their different little
compartmentalized?
Pockets? Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, but that's the other thing is because it's like, I feel like that kind of urges people to live, like, multiple different lives kind of thing.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Because, I feel like at this point, Allie knows me well enough. What you see is what you get. So there's no complicated anything behind me. So
I like this threads thing though. I just wrote myself a little note on my. I have a million to-do lists all the time, and like I want to look at how much you can customize it because like. So I frequent a handful of different like beer bars, and I have a handful of friends that are just like casual drinking buddies.
Yeah,
and I would be fine with them seeing. Hey, I'm at X. Like, I just got there, so I'll probably be there for an hour or two. Mm-hmm. And, you know, or ideally, if we all did that, I could see before because sometimes I'll drive out there and, like, usually I will randomly know at least 5 people there, but every now and then I don't know anybody, and I'm like, meh.
yeah.
So, like, that could,
That's why you bring a book. Right?
I always have a book. So that could totally, like, that could save me a little bit of time and effort, and, because sometimes I've driven by there, especially on, like, a Sunday afternoon, and there will be 3 cars there, and I'm like, nah, and I just keep driving.
yeah. No,
so that could be cool if you could customize it to like not let your vague drinking buddies see every place you go, but let them see if you're at the 2 different bars you run into them at.
For sure.
You know, that could be cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing is because it's, you know, it's one of these situations that I completely agree with you that I would be interested in checking it out.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to really look into like how it can be customized.
That's what
kind of data
I wrote
they're
was
pulling.
look into the level of customization.
Yeah. No, you're completely right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Facebook, obviously the owner of Instagram, isn't exactly known for security and privacy. So it's one of those things that it's like, oh well, it's do you want to be giving that data out? And they did actually mention something specifically that they would not. Wait, I actually want to get this right because for now, Instagram tells me there's no plan to monetize Threads directly or show any ads in it.
Oh, please.
I know, right? It's the biggest fucking eye-rolling paragraph ever. In fact, Facebook won't even use the exact locations pulled from the app to power ad targeting.
I don't believe that for a second.
I don't fucking believe it for It's like, dude, do not piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Yeah. I swear. Okay. I love conspiracy theories. I love goofy shit like that. And
you came to the right podcast.
I know, right? So I'm here to bring the weird. You know how people are like, our phones listen all the time, that's why you got these weird ads. I'm like, nah, it doesn't. But yesterday I was listening to a random podcast called Crab Feast, which is a couple comedians. They have other comedians and stuff on, and they had the hosts from The Dollop were on there a couple times, and I was listening to some of those. Mm-hmm. So Gareth from The Dollop is telling some old stories, and he's talking about this time where he last minute went to a Halloween party, and like he had to have a costume, so he went to like, you know, Spirit Halloween or something like that. Yeah. And there were only like 2 costumes left, and he ended up dressing up as a baby. Like a diaper and a bonnet, and like that's it. And everybody at every party he went to was like, what? Like, because he just looked like he's like in his 30s and he's dressed as a baby, and they're like, what are you doing?
It's like fucking baby heat week. And
I swear to God, I checked my email like 6-7 hours later, and one of my emails is from Pinterest and says, like baby boy costumes, and I'm like, okay, why else would I get targeted this?
No, I thought you were gonna say you got an email from Yandy and it was a sexy baby outfit.
you know they have it.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Like there have been way too many. Allie and I were talking about this a little bit before the podcast. I think that the age of coincidences. Yeah. I think it's dead. Dude, I don't know if there's coincidences.
Connects.
Yeah, there's a reason for most, or maybe it's just in the age of information, it's that much more apparent that there are no coincidences.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, man, it's some kind of creepy stuff. So I guess check out Instagram's Threads at your own risk, and be sure to take the extra 5 to 10 minutes to go through privacy settings
for sure
and lock that shit down. Yeah. So, but honestly, like you said, I agree with you. It might actually be kind of a cool little thing to have on, as long as it's as benign as it seems.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
And it also might be kind of detrimental just in how it works. Like, you know, if I'm looking to see if anybody's at the bar and nobody's at the bar and I don't go to the bar.
Yeah.
Everybody else is at home doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Instead of going to the bar.
Yeah. Instead of rolling the dice, man.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I'm just, I don't know, man. Sometimes I get like sad about the old days of just like whatever, going to the mall and like happening to run into somebody. Yeah. You don't really run into people a whole lot anymore.
Okay, but I do, but it's always people I don't want to run into. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh no, duck into this aisle. Oh no, it's the condom aisle and I look weird.
I just had the best idea possible.
Uh-oh.
All the people that you don't want to run into, put them on your thread or your threads.
But then they'd see where I was, though, right?
But then if you can talk them into doing an auto status, then it'll ping you and say they're there, so you can fucking abort and dip. You can use it in the reverse manner. Says the completely antisocial individual.
Be like, oh god, I can't go into Target.
Yeah. Oh my god. Maybe if they made like the API or whatever customizable.
Yeah.
Somebody could write a program specifically to do that or whatever. It's
There's
just called like Avoid or something.
There's a guy that I specifically hate that hangs out at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And like when he's there, he's like, I think
I specifically hate.
dude, I don't even know his name, but he's really, really loud, and like he wears too much hair gel. And he's older, and he thinks he's cool, and he tries to talk to everybody, and I'm like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to read and creep on my computer and drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
And like if I knew that he was gonna be there, I would go to a different Starbucks.
Dude, there's definitely people
Yeah.
people that I could go 3 lifetimes without seeing, and it'd be too soon. So, but anywho, let's cruise. You wanna go into the cancel culture stuff?
Oh man, do I ever?
Do we want to pull out the shovels and dig in?
I got a lot for this. I read this article like 3 different times. Okay, so I'm gonna butcher his last name because I always just see it printed. But Drew, I think it's Magary. He writes for Deadspin, and I love him. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like sports stuff, just his pieces are great. And he's written for GQ, and now he's got a new place. And I read this on his new place, which is Gen, Gen.
Okay.
At Medium.
Okay.
This article it's an opinion piece. It's called, I regret to inform you the comedians are filling their big diapers again. But really the subtitle is better. Well, the subtitle is, comedians are afraid that woke meanies are censoring all their jokes. So he starts off saying comedians always have had to try out their jokes on a real audience, like not just friends, to see what jokes work and what falls flat. Yeah. So like, maybe not an arena tour, but at least like the Comedy Cellar, and you're in front of 30 fans that showed up. So they're already like exposing themselves about, metaphorically, and they have been for 50 or more years. And he backs that with like some actual like pulled out research and stuff. But he had a quote that said, "This is not exactly an America where more sensitive people have the upper hand right now, even though all these anti-PC, anti-woke comedians would have you think that." He makes a point that our own damn president is a hacky insult comic, and which, whatever you think politically, that's still pretty valid. Like, he's pretty much an insult comic. Trump's got a ton of supporters and people laughing at all his shitty jokes, including a pretty good portion of the media, So there's some quotes from writer-director Todd Phillips, who stepped away from comedy to do the new movie Joker, because what he was calling woke culture has ruined comedy, and it's impossible to be funny without offending someone. And he like went on this whole tirade, and Drew in his thing was like, poor guy had to really slum it and write this movie Joker, which is only like the most franchisable thing out there. You poor dude. You're really suffering. There's some talk about some big time comedians and their imaginary enemies and their jokes that must go untold. And while I was writing my like little notes and summaries and stuff of this, I swear to God, I'm writing about Bill Burr, and my husband starts watching the Bill Burr Netflix special. And even though I didn't want to watch it, I was letting him do his thing, and he had it turned up pretty loud. And I'm in the next room, but I heard the whole thing, and oh my God, the whole thing is about cancel culture. So Bill Burr specifically calls out millennials as all being a bunch of rats, but Bill Burr is only 51, which makes him 13 years older than the oldest millennial. Which
take that.
Newsflash, dude. Like, we're not all 20-year-old virgins that are just angry at you on the internet. And Drew says that with people like Bill Burr being such seasoned comedians, that they surely know the line and they step over it just to appeal to a certain type of audience member, which I feel like is exactly what they do. That makes sense. They are out there so that those people will be like, haha, trans people can't take a joke like I can, So the end of the article kind of says, like, this is the softest form of oppression. There's no real danger for the bulk of these comedy lifers. There's no trouble. There's only tricking the audience into believing that you could get hauled away because your jokes are just too hot for all the trans people to handle. And there is only living inside the mindset that people who are offended by your jokes are either being overly sensitive or just making up their offense outright. So really the whole point of the piece was saying comedians should always be adapting and evolving and, you know, changing their comedy and what they're saying and stuff. And if you're doing comedy right, you're gonna look back on old stuff and be horrified by the things you said because shit changes.
Yeah. Which there was actually, I was listening to the No Agenda podcast, and they were talking about, I think it was actually Bill Maher.
Yep, he was mentioned in this too.
Yeah, and he was actually talking about just how everybody of the current generations, I guess, look back and they're like, my God, how in the hell did, you know, how did people exist back then? Yeah. And then you go back to the time that they're referencing. Those people looked back 50 years behind, and they're like, "My God, what were they doing? They're so, you know, we're so progressive, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And dude, 50 years from now, they're gonna look back at us,
probably,
and we're gonna seem like fucking terrible people. You know?
Okay, but maybe not as bad as the outright racist jokes.
Oh yeah,
the outright homophobia. And...
But there will be other shit that has evolved. That it's like, oh well, now it's PC to avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, but even so, in my opinion, I mean, like, I'm one of those people that I think the best comedy is when nothing is out, or I'm sorry, nothing is off limits kind of thing.
Sure.
And the only reason that I say that is because when you offend everyone, nobody's offended.
Well,
kind of thing.
I don't know. Like, I think there's also so Bill Burr, for example, like I should have made a list of the shit that he was saying. Like there were outright rape jokes, and the comedy, the audience was cracking up.
Yeah,
like there was a joke about he started talking about blow up dolls, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, in the past, if you wanted to have sex with someone and you weren't strong enough to hold them down," and like the audience just cracked up, and I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?" Like this is like,
it's
like,
a little. But so the I guess the thing that I'm referencing is for instance, Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
Sure.
Dude, everything's, you know, nothing is off limits kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the funny thing is it hits, dude.
Yeah.
South Park is a huge fucking show.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it has been for the past
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's kind of crazy how long it's been going on. But something else, and I'm kind of pivoting slightly.
Yeah.
Someone else that really comes to mind is Dave Chappelle.
Sure.
You go back to the Chappelle show.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, my God, it was like you were laughing at it and you were blushing at the same time.
I mean, it kind of depends. You know? Like the Rick James stuff.
Yeah.
Like most of it was just goofy.
Oh yeah, totally.
But there were, you know, jokes about like, you know, pimp slapping whores and stuff, and you can't do that.
What about the black white supremacist?
Okay,
his literal first episode.
But that's kind of really more rooting for the underdog and more like, obviously this isn't a real thing, and it's poking fun about how ridiculous supremacy is.
Totally,
it's not just making outright racist jokes.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I don't know.
I guess there's obviously a decent bit of nuance and like just gray area in there, and I think that's kind of the problem these comedians run into.
Yeah, is
because, you know, whereas you know, if you've got this gray area and just throwing some arbitrary numbers on there from 0 to 10 in the gray area, and somebody, you know, you set in your mind 5 and below is appropriate,
right? And
somebody else can take it up to an 8 and they think that it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And then you have shit that it goes up to fucking 11 and it's like, no, time
You're
out.
Like, what is this joke?
This isn't even funny.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, I hate that so many people use words like woke and politically correct and triggered to just be dicks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's a lot of jokes to be made about the whole triggered thing, but like, honestly, there are things out there that fuck people up. Like, you know, no, it's not fair to say that anything remotely sexual might trigger someone who's an assault survivor. Mm-hmm. But, like, your outright rape joke probably gonna trigger somebody.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
And, like, no, you can't avoid every single person's weird, nuanced thing that they're, set off by.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't have to be a dick and be like, oh, no, are you triggered? Like, and
repositioning.
Gotta reset my shoulders. Tensing up too much over here.
This was actually a really the whole cancel culture stuff.
Yeah,
very interesting.
And I was really surprised because Drew's really outspoken. I talk about him like I'm buddies with him, but I've been reading his stuff for years.
Yeah,
and he's really outspoken, and he's really like, shut the fuck up with your political correctness stuff. But like, he's on its side in this point. Like, yeah, there are reasons to be politically correct. Like, most people who hate PC culture are the ones who think they should be able to say the N-word when they want to. And like, no, man, you can't do that. Like, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about, since we were obviously talking about cancel culture, and while Allie's husband was watching Bill Burr, I was watching Chappelle.
Yep.
And in his skit, he actually had like a little like abortion / pro-life, pro-choice little sketch, I guess, or not sketch, but just little
like a bit.
Yeah. And it kind of got me thinking, and I wanted to have this conversation with Allie on here because I already had it with my wife, and we do not see eye to eye on it, which is fine, you know, each to their own.
Sure.
And so this was what was. We'll go ahead and jump into this. Sorry, this is kind of a hard pivot into something, I guess with a little more gravity.
Sure.
But so he was talking about how he's completely pro-choice.
Okay.
But
there's the but.
Yeah, exactly. So being pro-choice,
yeah,
allowing the woman to do with her body what she wants.
Right.
And I completely agree.
Right.
Now, having said that, put yourself in a situation of, okay, you have unprotected sex, you get pregnant.
Right.
The woman wants the child.
Right.
The man does not want the child.
Right.
So, do you think that the man should be exempt from like child care or I'm sorry, not child care. Child support? I
think it's such a gray area. Like, there's no black and white. Like, okay, you made the baby, you have to pay for it. Like, I mean, I think it just depends on the relationship, on what kind of, if you had any sort of talk about that before, if you had any kind of like just understanding. I mean, if you hook up with a random guy at a party and you don't even get his last name and you get pregnant, like you can't go after him for child support. You don't have a way to, and I'm not trying to like blame a woman or anything, but like that would kind of be on you. Like maybe get some contact info, like, just in case of complications. But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I've talked with other friends of mine about this, and like, it's just also gray. Like, there's no just set, okay, absolutely, always, yes, the man is responsible, or no, absolutely, the man's not ever responsible. Like, say if I accidentally got pregnant, we've been married several years, and like, if I decided I wanted to keep it and he decided he didn't, and we got divorced over it, I mean, like, yeah, we've been together a long time. Like, he would pay child support, like, but like, legally, like, yeah, I think he probably should, because we've been in a long-term relationship and blah blah blah. But like, if I had just met him once, and I don't know. So I think it all just totally depends on the people, the situation, what agreements do you guys have, what you want.
Yeah. Well, and because the kind of putting the shoe on the other foot is kind of the man wanting the baby and the woman not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that definitely sucks, because that's not just a simple, just be pregnant for 9 months and have the kid. And like, that totally, like, completely changes your body, like, changes your whole life. Like,
100%.
It's a huge thing to take on. It's not just an instant, like, here is your child, never talk to me again. Like, it's a long-term thing. And, and also, like, I mean, I don't know everybody's culture and stuff, but like, just places I've worked, if I was visibly pregnant, everybody would be like, hey, let's have you a baby shower. What are you going to name it? Is it a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
Are you so excited? Have you got the nursery ready? Like, if I said I'm giving this baby up for an adoption, this was an accident,
Yeah.
or I'm giving it to the dad, I don't want anything to do with it, I would be a pariah.
Yeah.
And I've worked multiple places that I know that's exactly how it would pan out. Mm-hmm. And so,
Which I'd say also probably geographically.
sure, because we're in the
definitely,
South. And it's, yeah.
Bible Belt, you know, I mean, shit, dude, it's
Dude.
always been
Yeah.
by the books, the main book being the Bible.
But yeah, like that's a whole thing about like rape victims and people being like, well, they can just give it up for adoption. Like, no, you're going through, you're re-traumatizing yourself every breath you take because your whole body has changed, and also people are just going to inundate you with questions and comments, and then imagine having to say, this isn't going to work, I'm going to give it up for adoption.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to try to talk you out.
Yeah.
And like, what are you going to do? Just tell random, Sarah at work, like, actually, I got brutally raped and this happened, and please don't bring it up again?
Yeah.
They'd be like, it's not the baby's fault. Like, no, we can't have this discussion.
I know, and I completely, I guess the thing that is most interesting to me, and obviously I'm biased because I am a male.
Sure.
But I don't know if you noticed, but no, I don't really feel like that it's really talked about in regards to that. Like mainly, so I said that my wife and I were not on board, with the same opinion.
Sure.
But I think that we can all agree, or I know Megan and I agreed, and honestly, I'd love to have your take also.
Yeah.
You can pretty much say, okay, no late-term abortions.
I mean, generally,
kind of thing.
but also the people who are having those late-term abortions are not out there just being like, 34 weeks and I changed my mind. Like, it's not that. Like, it's usually...
do you have anything,
I mean, not
in
any, like,
mind?
personal stories, but I've read a handful of, like, really good, like, articles on, like, Jezebel's done a couple that have been, like, titled really blatant, like, I had an abortion at 34 weeks and I don't regret it, and stuff like that. And a lot of times it'll be... you just found out the baby has some sort of birth defect that legit they will not survive after birth.
And now we're right back into the gray
It's
area.
not black and white,
and you're right.
And I know there's a lot of really big, super pro-life people who think there are women out there at, aborting children who could survive outside the womb, and there's not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure probably there are a handful of exceptions of crazy cases, but for the most part, those are ones that are, or the baby even has already died in the womb, and to remove it, technically, like, medically, that is an abortion. And in some cases, they won't let you. So you have to carry a baby that's ultimately, like, decaying inside you, and, like, give stillbirth weeks later.
Jesus,
and I mean,
dude.
I cannot imagine going through that
No.
emotionally and health wise. It's not good for you. You know.
Well, and I hate to, God, I'm the worst when it comes. Here we are talking about like the life of whatever a child, pretty much. But like coming back to what you were talking about, a late term abortion, and like this child having some kind of birth defect that it's even though they might be able to survive for a little bit or something. Yeah. The medical costs and stuff, and it's like, well, shit, dude. Is it
and the cruelty? I
mean, this is coming from someone with a 2-year-old, and it's like, and I hate to bring it up, but I mean, fuck, dude. We live in a world that a lot of people have, a shit ton of medical debt. Yeah, just because our fucking healthcare system's jacked to fuck. But and there's babies that are going to be born that are it's cruel to make them, like, they're gonna, the quality of life is just not there at all, period.
And that's absolutely on the parents, and it's their choice. If sometimes they do have the baby and they know it'll only survive for a day or two, but they do have that day or two with their baby. I mean, it definitely, it's so much of a gray area. Like, it's definitely, or they may survive for 2 days and not be suffering the whole time, and so you do have just some peaceful, very sad, but 2 days with your child. So,
for sure. Oh yeah.
But I do think a lot of pro-life people think that people are out here having abortions of viable babies, and I do not at all believe that's the case.
And I think that honestly, I'm 100% on board with you that before you even start having this discussion about pro-life, pro-choice, start looking at definitions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it kills me because I hear so many people say, yeah, I'm super pro-choice, but it's always the woman's, their decision, but I would never have one. Or my wife and I have talked and we would never do that. And I'm like, that still makes you pro-choice.
Yeah.
Like, that is what so many people are. And they think they're pro-life. And I'm like, look at how the laws work. That makes you pro-choice.
Yeah. And I mean, in all actuality, man, I'm not a big proponent of giving the government any more control over my life than is absolutely fucking necessary.
I did see, just to put just a little bit of an uplifting little gold star sticker on this.
Yeah.
I saw a headline in passing the other day that all of the various 6-week abortion bans have now been shot down.
Oh, all right.
So that's good.
Rock and roll, man.
Lord, that's a mess.
No. Yeah. Jesus, dude. Jesus. But, all right. Well, I say we go a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
We went a little dark there for a little bit.
That was a lot. Hey, weren't we going to talk, since it is spooky season?
Oh yeah.
Don't you have some recommendations?
Yeah, for sure. So,
because I got a bunch.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Okay.
And then go.
Okay. So we were talking just kind of horror, and I'm kind of new to horror, but I'm really, really digging it. I am currently reading a book called The Chestnut Man by Soren Svestrup. It's getting a lot of press. It's I joined Book of the Month, and it was one of their choices this month, and that was really cool. It's really, really well written. And it's really creepy, and it's suspenseful, and there's a lot of different plots, but the chapters are super short, so it all really works. And it's so good. Like, I'm actually meeting a friend after we record, and I'm hoping she's running late so I can read a little bit while I wait on her.
Yeah.
Another one, because we both are fans of the Donner Party. Is that a weird way to put that? Yeah, that's weird. But fascinated by the Donner Party.
For sure.
There's a book called The Hunger by Alma Katsu, and it's a horror story about the Donner Party, but they, definitely take a lot of liberties. There's some paranormal stuff. There's a lot of wondering who you can trust within the party.
Yeah.
So, it is, at least mostly, the real people's names and stuff, but it's absolutely, not a nonfiction book. It's supposed to be pretty damn gruesome, but I've heard a lot of really good things about it, so I'm gonna pick it up and read it. And I've heard a few more details, but I think they were kind of spoilery, so I don't want to tell everybody.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it sounds killer.
Gotcha. Cool.
What else? I read Cabin at the End of the World. So the concept of it is 4 strangers show up to this family's vacation cabin, and they say the world's going to end unless the family does this terrible specific thing. I noped out of it about a third of the way in because there was a crazy gory graphic scene. I had to put the book down and get up and walk around. I was like, this is so much.
Jeez.
And I was like, I was reading it on my Kindle, and I was 37% in, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So I gave up. I had borrowed it from the library and just returned it, but I could not stop thinking about it. That was in the springtime, and I finally, a couple weeks ago, was like, all right, I'm doing it. I gotta know what happens.
Yeah. And
thankfully, that scene was by far the worst. There's still some, kind of crazy stuff that happens, but that was the worst part. And it's just really good. It really makes you think, and it really makes you wonder what's gonna happen next. It was almost compulsive to keep reading it and see what's gonna happen.
Gotcha.
I just finished The Shining, which was a fucking masterpiece. I didn't think it was really that scary, but I just had this sense of dread the whole time I was reading it about what was going to happen next. And you're just tensed up, and it's so good.
I think so. In my opinion, The Shining, the book, because believe it or not, that's actually my probably favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah,
kind of thing.
A lot of people say it's their favorite Stephen King book, which is really big too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. The book is more psychological thriller.
Sure,
I would think. Movie probably obviously falling more into horror.
Yeah,
but the thing that terrifies me is shit that I think can actually exist.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, for instance, crazy people.
Yeah.
We know
losing your mind.
Yeah, losing your mind. That was why When I was in pharmacy school, I had 3 mental health rotations that I went to. I went to straight up state hospitals and stuff like that.
Right.
And got to witness people that literally just like paranoid schizophrenics that like, dude, it's for lack of a better word, it's crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so in regards to movie stuff, I would say if you're into like psychological thriller kind of stuff, The Shining is really good. It's a little bit slower, but I think that it's one of Kubrick's fucking masterpieces. Something to recommend on Netflix, The Invitation.
Yeah. That's on my list. I need to get to that.
Yeah, so really, really good. It's creepy as shit because it's kind of around this like cult mentality kind of thing.
Yeah.
And something else to recommend kind of in the same vein, Hereditary.
Yeah.
Holy shit. If you're down for movies that it's not going to be like this super action packed whatever, but holy shit, it is creepy as fuck.
Just that dread, that anxiety. The whole
and it's
time.
like you see it happening. You see, somebody go into like the throes of madness kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. Another one too that I would 100% recommend for anybody that's into the horror genre as a whole, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No.
Okay. So basically it takes all of the tropes from horror movies over literally the decades that it's like wraps it all up and puts it in a nice little package. It's got Chris Pine in it.
Okay.
And I was trying to think of anybody else that was it's got some bigger actors in it. I can't remember it. Tom oh my god, he was in True Lies also. I can't remember his last name though.
Oh, it's kind of older. It's from it's from 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Hemsworth, man, not Chris
Oh
Pine.
shit, Chris Hemsworth. My bad.
So many Chris's.
It's got Thor.
Anna Hutchison, Kristen Connolly, Fran Kranz, and Jesse Williams.
Okay.
I'm bad with actors. So.
Yeah, and actually at the very end, Sigourney Weaver actually has like a little cameo. Yeah. But yeah, it is a phenomenal movie. Yeah. And it goes back and forth between almost comedy and
it
horror.
calls itself an American horror comedy film.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And then God, there was one other one that I failed to write down. Drag Me to Hell.
I've heard good things about that.
So it is definitely a niche movie.
Yeah.
If any of the listeners are familiar with the Evil Dead franchise, Sam Raimi, or the Raimi brothers, he was responsible for, I believe, both Sam and I think it's Ivan, I believe. Anyway, they wrote it.
Okay.
And and I believe Sam Raimi directed it. So it's got the kind of spin that have you ever seen Evil Dead?
Nope.
Okay.
So bad with movies.
No, we're good. You named off a bunch of books I haven't read.
Sure,
I'll name a bunch of movies you haven't seen. But anyway, so he goes back and forth between straight up horror and just shit that is so like it's so comedic. It's like facepalm kind of shit, you know. But there are parts of that movie that have terrified me more than like any other horror movie I've ever seen, and I would 100% recommend it. It's
certain
got like
things just stick with you.
Yeah,
like
the
imagery, whole premise of Cabinet in the World, like it just really stuck with me. Yeah, and like it's so bizarre.
But yeah, for sure. But yeah, let us know the horror movies and books that you guys are digging and stuff, and maybe we can check them out and whatever. Read some lists in the upcoming weeks, because we definitely got a few more weeks left before whatever All Hallows Eve. So, but trying to look at the time. I think we got time for maybe like one more article. You wanna? What are you feeling?
I kind of want to get into this school resource officer guy because I went
Sure.
down a little rabbit hole with
Let's
that.
do it. Let's jump in.
More not uplifting news. Sorry, but it's important.
It's October. We're good.
Yeah, right. This is real life horror.
Yeah.
So a Michigan school resource officer was sentenced to 1 year in jail for sexually assaulting 3 high school students. Which just right there, cool. Three different students, and you got 1 year.
Dude.
Great.
Yeah. Insane.
So
Our legal system's not flawed.
our damn, like the sentences people get, I can't even.
Yeah.
So a former Michigan high school resource officer was sentenced to 1 year in jail after being convicted of sexually assaulting 3 female students. He was 35. He pleaded no contest to 5 charges in connection to 3 victims, including criminal sexual conduct against a minor, 2 counts of assault, misconduct in office, and attempted criminal sexual conduct.
Mm-hmm.
A no contest plea results in a conviction without the defendant admitting guilt. So that doesn't make sense, but whatever.
Yeah.
He also got 5 years of probation and has to be on the state sex offender registry for 25 years. So he's 35. He'll be off the sex offender registry when he's 60. Great.
Jeez.
Great news for him.
Yeah.
Love that for society.
Wait, I thought that was like
I thought that was a lifetime
lifelong-
thing.
Yeah.
So I put that in there because I was like, is that specific to Michigan?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that might be, that's a good point.
Yeah,
It might vary from state to state.
Maybe they're
so.
changing it because, wow, does our country like to be lenient on sex offenders.
Yeah. No shit, dude.
This sentence was the maximum that he could get according to his plea deal. The abuse went on for 3 years, with one 16-year-old student saying he sent her inappropriate text messages and forced her to hold his bare genitals. Like, she also said that she felt like she was in a prison when she was at school because she wasn't safe. She was being regularly abused. She started skipping classes, started failing classes. Like, she had a lot of trouble with it.
This dude just seems like an absolute piece of shit.
No, but he's repentant and remorseful. Yeah, he's remorseful. He got
that.
fucking caught.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Jeez.
in my sort of deep dive on that, there's a guy named Luke O'Neill who is a writer out of Boston. He writes some stuff for the Boston Globe and a few other places. He's also super active on Twitter, and I really like following his stuff. He's really, really outspoken. And he has an email newsletter called Welcome to Hell World, which is great. He shared some stories this week that somebody on Twitter shared with him about school resource officers messing with students. And it was a whole Twitter thread just about SROs just in the state of Virginia.
What?
And it was exhausting. And it was just in Virginia. And I bet there were 7 or 8 cases the girl brought up.
Jesus, dude. I don't understand how this stuff. So, I mean, and I don't know if the article got into this or not, but like, were there complaints made that were just not?
I don't know how this guy got caught.
Yeah.
I wondered that, but it didn't say in the article, so I'm not sure how he got caught. If one of the girls came forward, or if someone else happened upon something they weren't supposed to see. I'm not sure.
And I mean, like, is this? Man, it's just. This is so abuse of power like this is just fucking like disgusting.
Yeah, there's a quote from one girl's mom. I pulled the quote. It said, "They're supposed to catch the bad guys. They're not supposed to be one of the bad guys."
Yeah,
and like that's such a elementary way of saying it, but it really makes the point. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just
you're the person that I should be able to go to because I'm having this problem.
Yeah,
not the person who should be abusing me.
Jesus,
so
dude.
Like,
so what exactly is and it's maybe me just being an idiot, but what exactly does a school resource officer do?
Oh, we had one. My K through 8 school, we got one. My K through 8 school, we were in Blount County,
Damn, I just
Tennessee.
opened a can of worms.
Dude, just hang on. If it had long sleeves on, I'd start rolling them up.
Yeah.
We got an SRO, and I mean, as far as I could tell, he wore a gun on his belt and looked kind of scary. I don't know. He didn't do shit.
So
I don't know.
It's literally because I mean we had some. Well, I don't think we had any out in Granger, but like at Bearden, we had.
We
like
didn't
a
have
few,
one in my high school.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah, but I don't know. It was weird. But we got one in my K through 8 school, and like, He kind of taught like random little things to classes, like just as like little mini seminars, I guess. But
That's the other question that I have. How did he get these people in these scenarios that it was just them by themselves kind of
one
thing?
of these girls in one of these situations wanted to go into being in the police herself. So she went to this guy thinking he could be a mentor. And he was like, here's my junk. Can you imagine? Like, come on, dude.
Sorry, that was... You think that was really his approach?
No, I mean, he's probably a little more suave than that.
He's like, the only way to truly know how to handle a billy club is to hold mine.
These balls.
Is to lig my ball.
Oh, no, ligma.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Anyway.
one student having some sort of relationship, huge air quotes here around relationships. One student having a relationship with an SRO at her school wrote a note, and there was like a scan of the note, and it had the bubble circles over the eyes, and it just broke your heart.
Jesus.
And it said, his name was Daniel. Sorry. It said, Daniel said this year that he loved me, and if I was 10 years older, that I would be his girlfriend, by texting and Snapchat. He texted me saying that his family was out of town, and he wanted me to find a way to go over there and hang out. Daniel is my officer at my high school.
Dude, that literally, like...
It just turns your stomach.
It makes you feel ill.
It does.
Like...
I had to take a minute just seeing her handwriting. I was like, oh, sweetie.
Just the innocence of a fucking child.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
And just... Oh, people that can take advantage of children, literally, not even sexually.
No,
just like fucking like whatever, fooling them into like paying them money or some
scammy
shit.
stuff. Anything, yeah.
It's just like,
they're
God,
a special
dude,
kind of evil.
They're children. Yeah, and there's a special hell for those people.
Yep.
But apparently it's not our fucking prison system.
No, it's not. No,
So,
we don't do that here. He also texted the teen that he would be home alone that weekend, and he would like to be with her, saying they could just snuggle all day and just chill. Listen,
God,
I've been in high school. Any guy that says he wants to snuggle and chill is a liar.
Yeah, right. Jesus. Guilty. No, I'm just kidding.
The math about this dude's age is a bit weird on how the article was written, but I think he was 32 at the time of that text.
Got you.
Gross,
God,
man.
that is just... I can't even, like...
It's a gross situation anyway, but, like, you are... That could be your daughter. That could be your daughter.
I told Megan, so this is so fucking foreign to my thinking, and I mean, thankfully so.
Sure.
But, like, I took Finn over to Concord Park for a little bit.
Yeah.
And there were, like, this like, little group of, like, whatever, they were probably, like, I don't know, late, either super early high school or late middle school.
Sure.
And, like, I was actively avoiding them.
Because you don't want to look like the weirdo.
Well, not only that, but they're just obnoxious.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, just, like, being loud to fucking get attention kind of shit.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, Finn, let's go over here. And they, like, come over.
Oh, no.
Finn, let's go over here. And they come over. And they're, like, just talking loud about stupid shit.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, my God. Honestly... They're just so obnoxious. Like, middle schoolers, both male and female, are just so obnoxious. It's just like...
Especially in groups.
Yeah, but to take advantage of shit like that is just disgusting.
Well,
man.
under the terms of this guy's plea, he will have to undergo counseling and remain on good behavior for a few years, and that's pretty much it. That's a quote. That's a quote from the news article.
Jesus, dude.
That guy replaced the 47-year-old before him, who was a school resource officer at that school, who got let go because he had a relationship with a freshman student at the same school.
Who's fucking recruiting these people?
Right?
Right?
And that guy got a sentence of 13 months.
My God, man.
And I did put myself a note on here. I was like, I do want to stress, I am very glad these guys are getting caught and found guilty, but these sentences are insulting.
Yeah.
You know, that's really my whole point.
It really is.
And honestly, I didn't even get into... Those are, like, 2 cases, really. Well, 3. And, like, there's so many more cases out there.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And the girl that Luke retweeted on Twitter and that, like, he posted her stuff, that made the compilation of the Virginia ones, she just made a point that was like... what good are these guys doing? Like, at this point, it sounds like there's potential for so much more harm than whatever they're helping with.
Well, and it's, this, which I don't know if you know the I guess what exactly it means for these guys to be on whatever probation kind of thing.
I don't think
but
it means
like,
much of anything. Just
are they
don't
gonna
do
get
a similar
employed?
crime again. I
Well,
think.
are they going to get employed somewhere else? I would assume that if you're a
Surely
fucking
not as a
registered
school
sex
resource
offender,
officer. I don't think you could.
I wouldn't think that you could be even probably employed by a school.
Hopefully,
but I could be wrong.
Hopefully, if you're a registered sex offender, you also can't be a policeman at all. But I don't know. Our country is insane.
Yeah, I'm sure there's all sorts of fucking loopholes and shit. But
yeah.
Ugh, that's just fucking foul, man.
Yeah. It's just awful. What Luke said, Luke retweeted somebody on Twitter yesterday that said, I stopped reading your Hell World email because it was too, like, dark and depressing. And Luke was like, well.
It seems that, it seems I'm getting my point. It seems I'm getting my point across.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude. Well, I am glancing over at the time, and I think that we have arrived.
Yeah, run a little long day.
Yeah, ain't no thing. But yeah, we appreciate you lending us your ear, listeners. Be sure to hit us up in whatever method you prefer. One such method is tetherradio@gmail.com. That's TETHERRADIO at gmail.com. We can also be reached on the Twitter sphere at Tether_radio. Also Instagram at Tether_radio. Same thing as the Twitter. We're also on Facebook, Tether Radio, one word. Allie and I have been talking about it. We are going to try to start lighting a fire under our asses in order to be a little bit more active on the social media stuff. So, man, hit us up. We will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Let us know your horror movies and book recommendations. If you see a fucking crazy story and you want to hear us jabber on about it or do a little research on it, shoot it to us.
Especially if it's uplifting and not as dark as today happened to be.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I said, we appreciate you joining us for episode 69
Nice.
of the Tether Radio podcast. I'm your host, Daniel. I'm joined by Allie. And we are wishing you guys a great week and look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.